Manx Radio Sport.
Just approaching 3 minutes past 5 on Saturday the 30th of November. Welcome to Manx Radio Sport Classified. Simon Quine with you through until 6 o'clock-ish this evening. Plenty of football this week to look at. It's been a big day in local hockey as well, with the Mixed Cup, Mixed Plate, Mixed Bowl finals, as well as a handful of league fixtures in the mixed divisions too. Ben Cunningham joining me to look at that in more detail. Dave Christian will be here as well a little bit later on to look back on the one fixture in local rugby in Regional 2 Northwest between Douglas and Crewe and Nantwich, which took place this afternoon. And we will also have the ECAP FA Cup preliminary round draw before 6 o'clock this evening. But we start off, as always, with the classified results for today, and we start off in football. And first of all, the Canada Life Premier League. It finished Ayr United 2, Onken 2, Corinthians 6, St John's United 0. The game between Foxdale and St Mary's was postponed. Peel 3, Ramsey 0. St George's 2, Laxey 2. Union Mills 6, Marown 1. Moving on to Arden and Druggan Limited Division 2, Braddon 3, Douglas and District 0. Castletown 4, Colby 2. Douglas High School Old Boys 3, Governors Athletic 3. We're awaiting a result from Maloo Douglas Royal. If you know that, 166 177. We can pass the details on to everybody else. Michael United 1, Ramsey Youth Centre 4. Canada Life Combination 1, St Mary's 2, Foxdale 2. Marown Union Mills was awarded as a home win to Marown. Union Mills were unable to field a team today, and there were postponements in the games between Onken and Ayr and Ramsey and Peel. St John's 2, Corinthians 6, and we move on to Arden and Druggan Limited Combination 2, Colby 5, Castletown 2, Douglas and District 0, Braddon 4, Governors Athletic 2, Douglas High School Old Boys 1, and Pulrose United 7, Gyms 0, awaiting a result from Ramsey Youth Centre, Michael United in Combination 2. Again, if you know that, 166 177. Looking at rugby, only one fixture today, and that was in Regional 2 Northwest, and that finished Douglas 40, Crewe and Nantwich 3. And hockey, move on first of all to the Mixed Plate final. That finished Castletown Southerners 3, Valkyries C 3, with Castletown Southerners winning 5-3 on flicks. In the Mixed Cup final, it was Vikings A 3, Backers A 4, and the Mixed Bowl final, Harlequins B 5, Valkyries D 1. In Mixed Premier League, Harlequins A 1, Vikings B 3, Castletown Celts 3, Valkyries A 0. In Mixed Division 2, Castletown Cushags 2, Ramsey Ravens 4. In Mixed Division 3, Castletown Cosney 3, Vikings E 2, and Backers D 1, Harlequins C 1. We're awaiting a result, probably just about finishing now, the mixed under-15s game between Valkyries and Backers. We'll bring that to you as soon as we get it. Let's start off with football then in more detail. Tony Mepham joining me. We'll start off in the Canada Life Premier League, and we were talking on Friday Sport yesterday evening about Ayr United's issues with conceding at the moment. Again, they were 2-0 up and let it slip to 2-2 against Onken.
Yeah, it is, and this time it was right for Ayr United, because Ayr United had been falling behind, but certainly today they got it correct on the field, and Sean Kelly was with 2 of the goals, so nice and tidy for him, and keeps the pressure on the top of the Golden Boot chart with all those goals that he's scoring. But for Onken, it was Max Shirley got one, and Andy Asbridge got the other one. And I think it's Steph Shaw, the referee, female referee. Excellent performance by her today. But Ayr United be disappointed with that, but Onken buzzing. And Brian Callow very happy with the performance, and a valuable point that for Onken if it comes to the end of the season, where they're clutching for every point that they can get.
Okay, and Corinthians against St John's, again fairly convincing win for Corinthians, 6-0 winners.
Yeah, it was, and it's nice to go into a semi-final of a cup next Saturday, Corinthians against Peel, with a good win, and no doubt about it, the start at the moment is Joe Middleton. He got a couple of goals, so well done, Joe. Declan Blake on the score sheet as well, coming back from a broken leg. Dan Simpson, that's his first goals since he broke his leg playing for FC Isle of Man, so well done, Dan. 2 for him, and Baron Colley got 1 as well, so comfortable victory in the end for Corinthians and keeps them in touch at the top of the table with Peel, Laxey and Corinthians in there as well.
A shame to see the postponement between Foxdale and St Mary's, because yesterday evening we were talking about what a crucial game this could be in those teams fighting for sort of the top three, both currently sitting 5th and 6th in the table, and you were saying St Mary's are really getting in the mix there, so a shame that game couldn't be played really today.
Yeah, it's frustrating because last week we only had 2 games out of all the games that were set up, so some clubs now are going to be 3 weeks since they played, and Foxdale being one. St Mary's got a game in last week, so it's not too bad. But you always like to see top flight games playing. But Foxdale did everything they could, and when you look at in the end, we only lost 4 games this weekend. We've done really well. We've just had news in about a Masters game. We'll come to that later on. That's postponed tomorrow, but certainly Foxdale, St Mary's will be hoping for a game next week.
Okay, moving out to the west of the island, Peel 3-0 winners over Ramsey.
Yeah, it's a strong result that, and Peel, as we say, moving into a cup semi-final next week as well. But Thomas Brown is always on the score sheet, isn't he? And he got the first one after 14 minutes. Rhys Oates, his strike partner, got the second on 18. And then the third one was 4 minutes into extra time at the end of the game. So the 94th minute it was, and Paul Whitehead got the goal. So well done to Paul, well done to Peel. Big 3 points that with United dropping 2.
St George's Laxey, spoils shared there at 2-2. I believe a message we had in earlier on here that it was a stoppage time penalty for St George's, so Laxey were 2-1 up going into stoppage time.
Yeah, I got the goal scorers for Geordies. I'm not too sure who would have taken the penalty. I'll take a guess. It was Ryan Gartland. Was it?
Yeah,
that's a good guess.
Gartland.
Good guess. Ed Canner got the other one. That's a new signing for them. But for Laxey, they'll be disappointed. Ben Wazza with a goal. George Burrows on the score sheet once again. But they're looking 7 days ahead because they're in the other semi-final against Ayr United with their dropping points. Laxey dropping points. It's all to play for.
Union Mills correcting their goal difference from last week, 6-1 winners against Mepham.
Yeah, good result, and they'll be happy with that because Ryan Kelly last week wasn't happy at all against St Mary's, where they were absolutely walloped. But they've walloped someone today, and that's Mepham, bottom of the table. And it was Jordan Crawley with 2 of the goals. Jack Murray was the star today. He got a hat-trick, and Carl Uren got the other one. So they'll be happy with that. It was really frustrating for them last week, and I think it told midweek because at the training session numbers were low, heads were low that were there, and today they've bounced back. So let's get the numbers back up for training next week, and a big game for them again next Saturday.
It's the best response they could have hoped for really after last week, isn't it, to bounce back like that?
Well, it's horrible because when you're really mixing it with the big boys and you think to yourself, I've got a really good team here, and they have, and then to be not necessarily taken to the cleaners, but it was a real tough game for them to deal with. They couldn't hold on to Mark Wolfenden, who scored 4 of the goals. But at least today, it just sort of changed the vibe, doesn't it? And they've done it well in style, 6-1.
Okay, moving on to Arden and Druggan Limited Division 2. Braddon, who were sitting second in the table at the start of the day, 3-0 winners against Douglas and District. Yeah,
it was tight at half-time. It was 1-0. An own goal, so it doesn't help when you score against a team you're trying to beat. But Joe Burrows got 1, and it was Dan Kinraid who got the other one, and well done to Dan. He's scoring plenty of goals, and certainly when you look at Braddon, they really are sort of pushing at the top of that table, and with Old Boys today sort of dropping points as well, it just all helps them a little bit.
Okay, the game you were at for us this afternoon, Castletown 4, Colby 2.
Yeah, and it was sort of to and fro and everywhere, this one, because when Colby took the lead through Nick Clegg, I just thought to myself, right, okay, it was a good finish, but then Castletown sort of dipped the toe in the water a little bit by having some goals in front of goal, but it didn't happen. But it all came good for them in the second half. It was Paul Whitley who got the second one for Colby, but for Castletown, they really did work hard, and Lucas Simmons with 2 really good goals. The first one was probably the best out of the 2. Ball was played superbly through the middle to him, and he just touched it with his right-hand side foot out past the goalkeeper. He stood no chance, and the second one was a cross in, and he scored it. Tom Moore got 1, so well done to Tom. And Castletown just really strong in the end. Good performance by them, and they'll be looking to try and improve and climb up that table.
The one yesterday evening on the preview that you called very, very quickly as a home win, Old Boys against Governors Athletic, sounds like a really good game here. Don't know the sequence that these goals went in, but what a point that is for Governors Athletic.
Yeah, I think it went 1-0 to Old Boys. Robbie Ward got the goal, and then it went 1-1. Haven't got Athletics goal scorers. But I think it was George Kearns who got the second one for Old Boys, and then it was Dean Stockdale who got the third, and evidently his was an absolute sublime effort. Great strike by him went in. Haven't got Governor's second or third, but that's a cracking result because against Old Boys at Blackberry Lane, I thought to myself, can't see Governors getting anything out of this one. Well, they've proved me wrong. Well done, boys, and a big point for them.
Still nothing on Malou against Douglas Royal, I don't think.
Got it, Simon. I think got Malou 3, Douglas Royal 4, thanks to Dean Turton for that one. And the other result that we've got in, we haven't got any scorers though. Michael 1, Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys 4.
I've got the scorers for Royals here, if you haven't got those.
Yep.
Jordan Cowan with 1, Simon Dooley with 2, and birthday boy Bailey Ashton.
Yeah, and when you look at new signings there, you've got Jordan Cowan in his first game after he transferred from Michael. He scored 4 and he scored 1 today. Simon Dooley's, I think that's 2 goals on 2 occasions for him this season. And Bailey Ashton as well as a new signing for Michael. He's related to me, Bailey, so I've got to give him a good report. So well done, Bailey.
Final game in Division 2, Michael United 1, Ramsey Centre 4.
Yeah, got that one, but no scorers. If they could, please, 166, 177.
Okay, Canada Life Combination 1. We move on to that again. Another good game to kick things off, and a good result for Foxdale here, 2-2.
It was a good result because you look at St Mary's, where they are in the table. You look at Foxdale near the bottom. But Alex Hughes got 1 for Foxdale. Phil Santos got the second one. But I keep saying it, Jamie Skill and 2 goals for St Mary's Combination. He's a first-team player, so I think Jamie may be just happy enough to play with his mates in the combination. I'm not too sure, but he's a super player. He's not particularly old. I don't know. It's a hard one to understand, but if he's comfortable where he is, then let him play there.
Okay, Moran against Union Mills was awarded as a home win to Moran, with Union Mills unable to field a team. We had postponements in Onken against Ayr and Ramsey against Peel, so that takes us to St John's against Corinthians. Tight game, tight in terms of league positions here. St John's started the day 6th, Corinthians 7th, but convincing win for Corinthians 6-2.
Yeah, it is, and last night when we were talking about it, I did opt for Corinthians just to sneak it purely because of the good young players that have got coming through, and 3 of them did score actually. But Lee Ford led the way, and he's playing in the same team as his son Aidan, who's playing in sticks when he can. But James McCann sees one of the promising young players coming through. He got 1. Oscar Watterson, who got player of the final in the 7-a-side tournament on Wednesday at the Bowl. Well done, Oscar. Well done to Corinthians in winning that one 5-0. And Connor Clark, who's an absolute dream of a player to watch. And these players are 16, 17 years of age. So it's great to see them coming through the system, and hopefully a long future in senior football.
Okay, moving on to Arden and Druggan Combination 2. Southern Derby, and a fairly big game at the top of the table between Colby and Castletown. But I think, as we probably expected when we discussed this last night, Colby coming out on top 5-2 winners.
Yeah, it was. And, Colby have got a really strong side. And when you look at that league table, it tells no lies. But for Castletown, Aaron Field got 1. Ollie Lay got the other. Dickie, if you could, please text us through 166 177, just so we can give the boys a mention who scored the 5 goals for Colby.
I might have those here if you give me a second. Jimmy Warren 2, Seb Spears 2, and Dave Thomas.
Excellent. Thank you very much.
Douglas and District 0, Braddon 4. Yeah,
Braddon again, one of the top teams in this league, and it was Callum Murphy with 2 of the goals. Lex Medley got 1, and Joe Tier got the other. So another strong performance by Braddon.
And the penultimate game we're going to look at, because I think this is the one we're missing, a result for is Governors Athletic 2, Old Boys 1.
Yeah, we've got Pully and Jims in there as well. But Vinny Cowley, I think it was, got 1 for Governors Athletic. Callum Wade got a goal from the penalty spot. Taylor Henderson got a goal for Douglas High School Old Boys. And when you look where Old Boys in this league, that's a tremendous result for Governors Athletic, so a big well done to them.
I was just going to mention both Old Boys teams actually, top of Division 2, second in Combi 2 going into this weekend, and both probably not had the results they'd be looking for.
No, it isn't. That's just what makes football interesting, isn't it? Because, you just don't know. When you go out, you look at the league tables and you think, okay, we'll go for the higher team than the lower team, but you could get some performances in, and that's what's happened today. And it just sort of gives maybe a team that's run away from it a little bit, and Old Boys were, pegs them back in there, so it makes it a lot more interesting. But in all the leagues, Simon, which is great to see, there's a great battle going on for the league, and we're just over the halfway stage. Today was the second game of the turnaround, so it's all good to see. That's all nice and tight and everything to challenge for 2025.
Okay, Pulrose 7, Jims 0. A fairly comprehensive victory for them there.
Yeah, probably expected, but Jims, well done once again. They're changing around with the players. New players are coming in and making them stronger. But today they come across a real crack Pulrose United side, and Liam Thompson it was with a hat-trick. Corrin got 2. Jacob Foster and Callum Dunn, who's a really good young player, got the other one for Pulrose. And
the final game, which I still have no details for here, Tony, is Ramsey Youth Centre against Michael United in Combi 2. If anyone knows that, 166, 177, we'll get that result in before the end of the programme.
If they could, please.
Also, as well, today, just a quick recap on FC Isle of Man, who were in action at the Marine Travel Arena against AFC Liverpool. Seemed like a good game there, Tony. They were looking for an eighth game unbeaten, and it was probably pretty much the last kick of the game. Caleb Jones for AFC Liverpool getting the winner, and FC Isle of Man unfortunately on the wrong end of a 2-1 result.
Yeah, really disappointing because they've had such a good run. I think it was midway through the first half that AFC Liverpool scored, but it was an absolute belting goal in the second half by Luke Booth, who really has taken responsibility really at that forward line for FC Isle of Man, but looked as if they were going to share the points, but unfortunately just conceded towards the end. So makes the flight, they'll be on the flight now. I think it left just after 5, so they'll be heading home now, but disappointed that great run's come to an end. Now they've got 2 home games into the run in towards Christmas, and then a game in between Christmas and New Year, so it's still all to play for. They're in a great position, absolutely fantastic position, and let's just hope at the end of the season they get in the playoffs. I don't think they can win it, because Bury have got some games to play in hand. But certainly the way that they're playing and the squad that he's got, Paul Jones, and the strength of the squad, it bodes well for the future.
Okay, Tony, thank you very much. We'll get some reaction from Paul Jones throughout the week here on Manx Radio, and also preview to their next fixture at the Bowl next Saturday evening on Friday Sports Preview from 5:30 next week with Rob Pritchard back in the chair looking after proceedings there. That takes us on then to the ECAP FA Cup preliminary round draw, and we're joined in the studio by Carl Conroy from ECAP. Before we get into the draw, Carl, welcome to Manx Radio. It's your first time up here?
It is. Thank you for having me. I'm looking forward to it.
So before we get into the draw, tell us a little bit about ECAP and their involvement with the Isle of Man FA.
Of course, yeah. So ECAP was they've been doing business here for about 7 years. We opened our Isle of Man office at the beginning of this year, so we've been supporting the FA Cup for the last 2 years, I believe. I'm looking forward to a good draw tonight, and just seeing how it all goes.
I know you've played a bit of football yourself in the local leagues.
Yeah, I didn't think that was going to come up. Yeah, I played for Malou from sort of under 15s, I think, through to Combi first team. Yeah, I've not played in a good while, though, other than the odd business leagues and things like that.
Well, let's see if you can get Malou a favourable draw here. Tony, you've got all the details there. You've got the numbers.
We have.
Carl, you've got the bag with all the balls in that we need for the draw.
Give a good shuffle there, and as I say, there's 24 teams in the bag. Obviously, there's 2 out, which is Douglas Athletic, who aren't in it, and Jims, because they've got combination teams only. Carl, if you could please put our listeners out of their misery, and let's do the draw for the ECAP FA Cup.
Of course.
Preliminary round draw.
First number out is number 15.
And number 15 is a home tie for Onken.
And they'll be playing number 1.
Number 1 is Ayr, so they played each other today and got a draw. Well, they're not going to get a draw in the cup because we've got to have a winner.
Moving on, we have number 22.
Number 22 is St John's.
And they'll be playing number 20.
And number 20 is Russian.
And next out we have number 18.
Number 18 is Ramsey.
And they've been drawn against number 14.
And number 14 is Michael.
Moving on, we have number 8.
Number 8 is Douglas Royal.
And they'll be playing number 9.
And number 9 is Foxdale. That's the 4th game 4 to go.
Okay, so we have number 3.
Number 3 is a home game for Castletown.
And they will be playing against number 21.
And number 21 is St George's.
We then have number 10.
Number 10 is Governors Athletic.
And they'll be taking on number 12.
And number 12 is Maloo. 2 games to go.
Go on, Maloo. We then have number 7.
Number 7 is Douglas High School Old Boys.
And they'll be taking on number 5.
And number 5 is Corinthians.
We have number 24.
Number 24 is Union Mills. And the last one
Will be number 13.
And number 13 is Marown. So hopefully if you pull the rest of the balls out, they won't be involved in the draw, but it'll be the teams that have buys.
Okay.
And they are
Number 11.
number 11 have a bye. That's Laxey.
Number 17.
Number 17 is Pulrose.
Number 16.
Number 16 is Peel.
Number 4.
Number 4 is Colby.
Number 19.
And number 19 is Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys.
Number 23.
Number 23 is St Mary's.
Number 2.
And number 2 is Braddon.
Leaving the last one to be number 6.
And number 6 is Douglas and District. You got the draw, Simon?
I've got the draw here, yeah. So that's
Right, I'll let you repeat that.
the ECAP FA Cup preliminary round draw. These ties will be played on the 4th of January.
Correct.
And the draw is as follows. Onken against Ayr United. St John's against Rushen. Ramsey against Michael. Douglas Royal against Foxdale. Castletown against St George's. Governors Athletic against Maloo. Douglas High School Old Boys against Corinthians, and Union Mills against Marown. That's the 8 ties in the ECAP FA Cup preliminary round draw, and that means the following teams get byes. They are Laxey, Pulrose, Peel, Colby, Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys, St Mary's, Braddon and Douglas and District.
Excellent. You're going to ask me which is the tie of the round in that, aren't you?
Where are you going to be on the 4th of January?
4th of January. Let's have a look here. I think we'll send Rob of Fareham Field. I like to look at a side that's sort of in the bottom half of the Premier League against a team that's near the top of Div 2, because it gives you a rough idea. So Onken and Ayr are Premiership sides. St John's and Rushen are Premiership. Ramsey against Michael are close, aren't they? But you'd expect Ramsey to win that. Douglas Royal against Foxdale. Foxdale much improved this season, so Foxdale to take victory there. Castletown, I think, will fancy their chances. I saw enough the second half today to know that they're in with a chance against Geordies. Governors Athletic against Maloo's and Old Division 2 battle in that one. Old Boys looking for promotion. Corinthians and Old Boys have had many battles over the years. A lot of Old Boys players are actually ex-Corinthians players, so that gives you a little bit of edge on that one, but Corinthians should start off as slight favourites. Union Mills against Marown, as Union Mills showed today. Really good side, in good form today, plenty of goals, so you'd expect them to go through, but there's still some big teams not involved in now. I'm looking at Laxey, I'm looking at Peel, that they'll come in when Carl's back up here on the 4th of January. So book that in your diary, please.
I'm looking forward to it.
Good man.
All right, Carl, thank you very much. Tony, thank you very much as well. Just a reminder, the ECAP FA Cup preliminary round games, they will be played on the 4th of January, and the details of that will be online at manxradio.com. You'll find all the fixtures on there later in the week.
Manx Radio Sport.
26 and a half minutes after 5 o'clock. Just one game in local rugby today between Douglas and Crewe and Nantwich. And for all the details of that, we'll head over to Dave Christian.
Yeah, good evening, Simon. You're right, just the one game, which is disappointing in itself, but a good, solid performance for Douglas. They made it 4 home wins on the trot in Regional 2 Northwest, beating Crewe and Nantwich today, 40 points to 3. The bonus point in there for Douglas as well. They scored 6 tries today, bonus point for 4, so that gives them full 5 championship points from the match. They now tied in 7th place in the standings with Altrincham Kersal Altrincham Kersal actually just above them in the official standings, are by virtue of the number of wins. I think Douglas won 4, Altrincham Kersal won 5. So everything else is pretty much even Stevens. So it's a good, solid performance, as I said. And Douglas started off very threatening. They were in the Altrincham Kersal half. They weren't. They were in the Crewe and Nantwich half for much of the first half. Had a lot of territory but very little possession. Crewe and Nantwich were a gritty side and difficult to break down in the first half, and they managed to retain the ball very well, even if they didn't threaten at the other end. Douglas went in quite early, 4th minute try from Sam McCord. It was a cross kick, the full width of the pitch from Bryn Snellgrove. He could have landed it in a bucket. It was that accurate. Sam McCord and acres of space out wide on the right-hand side. He was in for the try. There was a period of stalemate then for 25 minutes or there and thereabouts before Bryn Snellgrove added a penalty to put Douglas further ahead. On the cusp of half-time, Charlie Henthorne went in for a try out wide on the left-hand side. That made it 13-0. And it looked like that was how it was going to finish at half-time, but Douglas obligingly coughed up a penalty for Crewe and Nantwich with the final play of the first half. Logan Lynch kicked that for the visitors, and it left the half-time score 13-3. In the second half, Snellgrove added an early penalty. That settled the Douglas nerves, extended that lead back out to 13 points. And from that point onwards, Douglas accelerated away. Scrum half Nathan Robson burrowed in under a big pile of bodies for a try. Josh Duncan got a try wide on the left-hand side. But the jewel in the crown of the second half, at least, was Sam McCord. He got 2 more, completed his hat-trick, and snatched the bonus point try as well. Bryn Snellgrove converted 3 out of 4. And as I said, a pretty solid home win. Douglas will face Winnington Park next week. Winnington Park are in 11th place. There's 12 teams in the league. Douglas up for 7th. And Winnington Park could be a good place for them to get the monkey off their back, because they haven't won away from home yet this season. And a win at Winnington Park will be just the tonic. They do have a fixture, rearranged one now, against Eccles on the 21st of December. It's a game nobody wants to play, on the day nobody wants to play. But unfortunately, that's a result of Storm Burt last Saturday. So Douglas with a busy run in, but that home game at Eccles, away at Winnington Park. In amongst that, they've got a trip to 4th place Widnes as well. So that might be tough, but if they can win 2 out of 3 in the run-up to Christmas, it'll be a fantastic Christmas present for the players who've worked very, very hard so far this season.
Thanks very much there, Dave. Christian with a review of today's hockey, not hockey, that's where we're going next, rugby action. It's just gone 5:30.
Manx Radio Sport.
And we do now indeed come to hockey, and it's been a busy day. Ben, you've moved microphones. You're on that one that Tony was on, aren't you?
Yeah, I've moved. It's musical and microphones tonight.
You've warmed up now then from your excursion down to the NSC, where you've been for probably about 6 hours today.
Yeah, but it's been really entertaining. Some fantastic games, and let's not disappoint. Let's go through them.
Yeah, let's kick off then with the mixed plate final, which was the first game, and the excitement sort of started in this, didn't it, with it going to flicks?
Yeah, full time, 3-all. What a game it was. Half time, 2-2. It was Valkyrie C took the lead. Then Southerners equalised, then Southerners took the lead, and then Valkyries equalised just before half-time. And then the second half was just end-to-end, non-stop. And then in the last 10 minutes, Valkyries found the breakthrough and went 3-2 up. But then with 3 minutes to go, Southerners equalised, taking it into flicks. I mean, if you heard me report with Paul Moran, and he'll lost my voice when Southerners scored. But into flicks we went. Full-time, it was 3-all. Lucy Allen and Ned McGregor. Lucy Allen with 2 and Ned McGregor with 1 for Southerners. And then for Valkyries, it was Chris Thomas with 2 and Rob Condra with 1. Into flicks it went. 5-3, Southerners took it, and it was down to just simply a save from the Southerners goalkeeper, which gave them the victory. So massive congratulations to Southerners, because they've done the double, they've got the league, and now they've got the plate.
And if you thought that was exciting, then we had they had the mixed cup final after that. I mean, what a game this was.
Oh, what a game! Yeah, it was lucky I had just about a voice for the bowl after this game. Backers 4, Vikings 3. What a game! Half time 0-0, and then in the second half it all just went mad. If I described the plate game as a pantomime. How could I describe this cup game? It was phenomenal. Vikings taking a 3-1 lead, and then backers coming back from 3-1 down to take it 4-3. Callum Robb with 3, Jamie Brown with 1 for backers A. And then for Vikings A, it was Tom Burrows with 1 and Kim Carney with 2. But backers just showing that even if they might be losing, they can pull it back. And I know me and Rob have said it time and time again. It just goes to show the class that they have in that team. It was such an even game. It could have gone either way. At 3-3, I thought we were going to flicks, but then just in the last moment, backers took it, and I would have loved to have seen it would have loved to see it go to flicks, because it would have been interesting.
And it tops off what's been a fantastic week for backers as well, of course, confirmed as league winners last Saturday, cup winners this week. It's been a great 7 days. Yeah,
and I mean, they took the league against Vikings A last weekend, and this weekend they've took the cup off them again. But this week's game was a lot closer than last week's game, but then again, they were missing a few players, both sides, but it just shows that even though they're missing players, they can bring players up from their higher teams. Obviously, with the cup games, if they've played for one team, they're cup tied. So they have to bear that in mind as well. So fantastic result for backers A. Commiserations, Vikings B, because at 3-1, you would have thought that was it. But no, backers A came back and took it 4-3.
And the mixed bowl final was the final fixture of the day at the NSC. Harlequins B coming out at 5-1 winners against Valkyries D. Before I come to your thoughts on that, Ben, I just thought I'd share a report here that we got in earlier on to say that despite the enthusiasm from the Blues, we couldn't beat the mighty Quins. Standouts from Ali Caroon, Chris Adams and Liam Harrison with a fantastic assist on our goal. Ellie Burns also with another strong performance despite the score, reading and blocking many shots. We didn't give up to the end. Well done, Quins. An excellent display of hockey.
Yeah, absolutely. And I mean, that's come from the Valkyries D captain, Donna Harrison, and she's described the game just as good as I probably could have. Valkyries, they put in an absolute sterling effort, but just Quins today were just too clinical. They were slick passing, 1-2, and they were in. And the Valkyries keeper deserves a lot of praise today, because Quins could have had a lot more, but she did absolutely phenomenal. For me, she was man of the match, or woman of the match, should we say, because she really did keep Valkyries in that game and kept the score down. For Valkyries, the goal was from Ellen Barker, and then Harlequins, it was Corey Corkill with 2, Even Skillcorn with 1, and Tom Hurd with 2. He did play, still no baby though.
As far as you know.
Still no
so
baby,
far.
still no baby.
That means we move on then to the rearranged league fixtures. Now, these were supposed to be played last week. You've got a couple more to squeeze in midweek, I think, next week, and then are you caught up?
Yeah, we've got a couple of midweek games in the week. I think we've got 3 coming up in the week, so they'll all get played midweek. But we did squeeze a couple in today. A few of them just haven't been able to take place today, with the fact that, of course, we've had some teams playing in the cup finals today. But yeah, we've managed to fit a few fixtures in today, which has been brilliant. Get them all done and dusted before Christmas. Okay, we'll start off in the mixed Premier League. Harlequins A, Vikings B 3. Yeah, shock result there. I did have Harlequins down as going to get this, but Vikings B have come out on top. Ben Dougal, Kyle Gundon and Josh Knight for Vikings B, and then Harlequins A goal scored was Ronan Santanatolio. And a late one added to the schedule that we didn't preview yesterday on Friday Sport was Castletown Celts against Valkyries A. The Castletown Celts coming out 3-0 winners. Yeah, I was only just notified by this morning that we missed this game off. I had word that it was going to be getting played midweek next week, so I apologise to both Castletown Celts and Valkyries A for not giving it a preview last night. Hannah Lees, Helena Allen and Amy Sellers all with goals each for Castletown Celts. given Castown Celts the win that they would really want. And for Valkyries A, unfortunately, it's just not been the season that they probably wanted.
Okay, and mixed division 2, Castletown Cushags 2, Ramsey Ravens 4.
Yeah, good result there for Ramsey Ravens. I had Cushags down as a win for this one, but Ramsey Ravens have proven me wrong. Kyle Kane with 2, Connor Parker with 1, and Alfie Mellon with 1. And then for Cushags, it was Danny Kelly with 2.
And moving on to Mixed Division 3. Now, this is the one that we discussed. Both these games were played at QE2 today. And it was a real sort of if this happens, if that happens scenarios.
There was about 20 ifs if it could happen.
A lot of permutations could happen here. We'll start off with the first game, which was Castletown Cosney against Vikings E. Castletown Cosney were 3-2 winners in that game.
Yes, they were 3-2 winners. Isla Cox, Sophie Vivian and Adam Parker, all the goals for Cosney. And then for Vikings E, it was Sam Burrows and Sam Spooner, meaning that Cosney had won, meaning that Backers D needed to win by, I think it was about 20-something goals to take it off Cosney.
And that game finished Backers D 1, Harlequins C1.
Which means Cosney have took it. For Backers D, it was Richie Weir, and for Harlequins, it was Josh Halumbi. For Backers D, congratulations on the runners-up spot. I think it was going to be a bit... Something had to go drastically wrong if they were going to get Cosney by the goal difference. But as we were saying a couple of weeks ago, that goal difference can be a massive factor, and it has in pretty much every division this year.
Mm-hmm. Okay, we move on to a mixed under-15s game, just the one. Again, another rearranged fixture from last week. We didn't have the results when we ran through the classifieds, but we do now. That finished Valkyries 5, Backers 2.
Yeah, I've just got the Backers scorers come in. The Backers scorer was Ryan Cartwright with 2, and then... I've lost the message. No, I haven't. There it is. And then for Valkyries, it was Caleb Quayle with 2, William Miller with 1, Rhea Marr with 1, and Amber Buchanan with 1, meaning that Valkyries under-15s are the champions of the under-15s league for the period of up to Christmas.
Okay. All right, Ben. We were talking last night about hockey plans for up to Christmas now. You've got these couple of midweek games you need to squeeze in just to tidy up the tables, make sure everybody's played their fixtures, and then what happens going forward after that?
So coming up, we have on the 14th, we've got the Island teams. We've got 2 home games, which will be taking place at the NSC, one at 11 and one at 3 o'clock. Then after that, there'll be a little bit of a break. Then we have what we have in just after Boxing Day is the challenge matches, which is like under 15s, under 18, and senior games as well. They all take place. That's a mixture of island teams and players from who have been on the island, home from university, and we mix the teams up. So it's a good game there. And then we go into the new year, and we begin in the men's and ladies. It was due to start the first weekend in January. That has now been pushed back one weekend. So that's now the 11th, if I've got my maths right. And that will all be the league fixtures kicking off on the 11th of Jan. We've pushed it back by a week because, again, we have an Island team game on Island. So we want to make sure that gets priority. But yeah, hopefully by the end of this week, we'll have all the fixtures for the mix done. And then everyone can have a nice long break, not overdo it on the Christmas dinners, and be back ready for come New Year. And it's been a phenomenal mixed campaign. Every league has pretty much gone down to the last weekend, which has been really good to see. And it's been some really close action, as we've seen in the Mixed Cup Plate and Bowl this weekend. And I've just had a lovely message, which I'll end on. And this has just come from the MHA. Hi Ben, would just like to say on behalf of the MHA and myself, a big thank you to yourself, Manx Radio, for being down and covering all the fantastic games that took place today at the NSC, as well as all the mixed fixtures up to now. Also, it was really good to have Tim Glover, president of the MHA, present today. at all the mixed cup games to present the trophies. So big thank you to the MHA for all the work they've done up to this period, and nice little message there to end on.
All right, Ben, thank you very much. So Saturday off for you, is it, next week then?
Possibly.
Wait and see.
Yeah, wait and see what Rob brings up.
All right, Ben, thank you very much. And you're looking after things here on full time in a couple of weeks. Sorry, on the 14th, I believe. You'll be in the big chair.
Yeah, I'll be outside of the desk.
Ben Cunningham, thank you very much. Just to recap then on the main news, or breaking news, should I say, from this evening's classifieds. That's the ECAP FA Cup preliminary round draw. Just to recap that once more, the 8 ties that came out the hat with these games being played on the 4th of January is Onchan Ayr United, St John's Russian, Ramsey Michael, Douglas Royal Foxdale, Castletown St George's, Governors Athletic, Maloo, Douglas High School Old Boys, Corinthians, Union Mills, Moran. The byes for the preliminary round go to Laxey, Pulrose, Peel, Colby, Ramsey Youth Centre and Old Boys, St Mary's, Braddon and Douglas and District. Thanks very much to Tony Mepham, Carl Conroy from ECAP, also Dave Christian and Ben Cunningham. Full-time is back from 4 o'clock next week, and Friday Sport Preview will be back on Friday from 5:30 as we look ahead to all the weekend sporting action with Rob Pritchard on Manx Radio FM and DAB as well. And don't forget, this programme shortly available as a podcast for you to catch up on demand at manxradio.com.